What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a quick Destiny 2 update. Of course, after the weekly reset this week, we discovered that Rite of the Nine was on a 3-week rotation, and when we say that, of course it meant that each dungeon would be featured for 3 weeks. Which is pretty different to what the community anticipated, even though Bungie hadn't actually given us a specific confirmation of how the rotation was going to work. And then the first day after reset, Bungie indeed confirmed this, but they've gone ahead and changed their plans for the remaining Rite of the Nine rotation, and they'll also be increasing reward drops. So the Destiny 2 team said, starting today, our planned Rite of the Nine dungeon calendar will be changing, and each dungeon will be featured for 2 weeks as opposed to 3, and we're increasing nonary manifold currency drop rates which can be exchanged for additional weapons. With this change, Ghosts of the Deep will now launch next Tuesday, May 20th, followed by Prophecy on June 3rd. Then alongside the above changes, the second week of a given dungeon will also feature increased weapon drops, where rewards can drop from any enemy defeated during your dungeon playthrough, and hollow foils will be included in this. Beyond that, they add that for this week, we're rapidly working on an update that will turn increased weapon drops on in Spire of the Watcher until Ghosts is featured next week, and they'll let us know when that's deployed, but otherwise, starting on June 17th, all Rite of the Nine dungeons will be available to play at any time on any difficulty, and increased currency drops will be active for all 3 dungeons. Each week a featured dungeon will have increased weapon drops, and this will begin with Spire of the Watcher on June 17th, followed by Ghosts of the Deep on June 24th, and ending with Prophecy on July 1st. Then, for July 8th, a Lootapalooza will begin. All 3 dungeons will have all reward bonuses enabled for the final week of Episode Heresy, alongside a new way to spend the nonary manifolds. And we hope this gives all Guardians ample time to hunt for hollow foils and adepts as they prepare for the Edge of Fate launch on July 15th. So first up, safe to say this sounds better than the plan that they'd originally had, and of course the communication part is important here as well. I guess one of the big failings is that Bungie hadn't specifically outlined what the rotation for the dungeons would look like. And looking in the community, it was already obvious that we expected to get 1 dungeon every week. So on the communication side, I think Bungie definitely could have done better there. Also, the general design of that dungeon rotation was kind of flawed, and it felt like it was more focused on engagement as opposed to the gameplay actually being fun and interesting for players. So overall, I think this sounds like a good change. And to summarize, we're getting more of the nonary manifold currency, which of course means more rewards. Then on the second week that a dungeon's featured, there'll be increased weapon drop rates. The fact that we'll be able to drop weapons from any enemy defeats as well will be pretty juicy. Hopefully later on this week, we'll get those increased weapon drops for Spire. And as Bungie said, June 17th, all of the dungeons will be available to play, with increased currency and weapon drops. Then in the final week before we get to Edge of Fate, there'll be the kind of dungeon gauntlet component, with all reward bonuses enabled. So there we go, that's Bungie's update on it. Overall, a massive positive that they've now made these changes. Again, it's a shame that the way Bungie had configured this has affected kind of player interest in it. Feel like that didn't need to really happen. Share your thoughts on the design choices with that down below. And of course, the update that Bungie have given us today, I imagine this will form a significant part of the twit, but yeah, Bungie have essentially gone ahead and fixed the majority of that issue, hopefully. That's the quick update for today, guys. Give us your thoughts in the comment section. If you found the video useful, a rating really does help us out as well, but otherwise, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.